Good morning, YouTube. So it's beautiful weather today. It's Saturday. It's overcast. We're supposed to get some rain all this week and next week, but it's been saying that for the past like 2 weeks. And normally it'll rain at night for like an hour or two, and then by the morning it dries up because of just how hot it's been. So I do want to first start off with saying thank you. Because my channel is monetized now. I'm not making crazy money. I don't know if I ever will. This pretty much just started as a side hustle or just as a hobby, just like how this started. And it's kind of just crazy how if you put in the work and I wouldn't say I wasn't really consistent with my YouTube videos. I would say if you're new, probably watch up to like the last like 3 or 4 months of my videos. Anything past that, I would say anything past like 7 or 8 videos, don't watch those videos. I still have them up. But I'll save you the time and energy. Don't watch them. They're pretty trash in my opinion, if I'm being honest with myself. I just wasn't consistent. I was all over the place. Now I've been trying to record like every day or every other day or at least once a week. And if you guys have noticed, I've been uploading a lot more and really just trying to take this a little bit more serious. I obviously started this with no intentions of making money, and then my previous videos or past few videos, I've just been saying like it's been crazy if I ever do start making money from YouTube, and of course I'm just gonna keep reinvesting it back into the channel, doing more giveaways. I've probably made like $9, so it's nothing crazy, but it is a big milestone to start making money from YouTube because. Just like when you start off lawn care and you have like 2 or 3 clients or even 10 clients, you get that adrenaline rush. You're like, okay, well, it did. Once you get like 7, 8 clients, like that's a full day's worth of work, and you're like, okay, if I'm making anywhere from like $300 to $600 one day, like if I keep doing this down the road, I can fill up 4 or 5 days of my week, and then you leave your your 9 to 5 job and whatever, and you do this full time. And that's pretty much where I'm at with my, with this YouTube channel. It's like, okay, I've made $9 so far, but if I stay consistent and I keep uploading and, I try to, you try to find like new ways to to stand out and whatnot. And pretty much if I'm just consistent, I know down the road, it's just like a snowball effect. So big milestone. It's not really even about like the $9 that I've made. It's just like the fact that like I've hit that milestone. So normally, I definitely appreciate all those comments, negative, positive. If you think you come out rude, I don't take anything personal. It's very hard for me to get upset. It's very hard for me to look at a comment and feel some type of way because I don't. I would say maybe. Maybe if it's a negative comment, maybe I'll get upset for like a couple minutes and then I just forget about it. And then I know eventually if I do get really big, I probably won't even pay attention to these comments because you can't, if it's constant like negativity from other creators or other lawn care guys or just people in general, which we know, it's very easy for people to be negative when you're typing something opposed when you're face to face. And I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and his advice has been never read your comments because it's gonna get to you. You're gonna feel some type of way, and it's gonna ruin your day, or you'll get depressed and whatever. But anyways, I'm sorry I'm rambling on. So this morning, first of all, again, thank you. But this morning I went to Walmart, picked up some Gatorade, some waters for next week. And we're not drinking that many Gatorades because ultimately it's just sugar, just sugar and artificial stuff that we shouldn't be drinking. But when you're out here working like crazy, especially, with how hot it's been, luckily next week it's supposed to be cool. So I'm sure when I'm recording, I'm going to be like, I feel on top of the world. This is beautiful. I'm making good money and it's in the 80s. So next week it's supposed to be in the low 80s, which is amazing. But regardless, like when you're out here working like 4 or 5 days out of the week, water just won't cut it. You need that sugar, to keep you going, or that caffeine. So normally I'll get like Dr. Peppers. I just bought Gatorades, and then what I bought from those Gatorades, I think it was like 4 12 packs or something, or 8 packs. That should last us 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks and a half. So Jacob's pretty, I tell Jacob like whatever's in the coolers for us. But I also tell him, like don't go too crazy where you're just drinking Gatorades all the time, because then I'm like, dang, like, like then it makes me not want to buy it because it feels like you're kind of just taking advantage. But at the same time, like, I know how hard it is, so feel free to drink. Just be conservative, pretty much. Is what I tell him. Be conservative. They're back there. Don't overdo it. But he's pretty, aware of that. And he's like, no, he's like, I don't want to feel like a leech, or like, I'm trying to be a freeloader or whatnot. And I don't think, even if he does drink like 2 or 3, like I was like, dude, I was like, drink it. It's hot. It's miserable right now. Drink it. But at the same time, be conservative, because, it does fall. I do think it falls under my responsibilities to provide drinks and stuff like that. But I know there's other lawn care guys that just provide water. For me, I was like, no, I'm gonna take us, coconut waters, regular waters, Gatorades, and I'll buy him lunch here and there, because he is my right hand man at the moment, and hopefully he is moving forward. So they should last us a couple weeks. If not, the next week I'll go out again and buy more, so it's no big deal. But today I did want to talk about these Scags. I'll put what's it called? Like a time frame of when I actually start reviewing them. If you're new to the channel, pretty much, it's a daily vlog, and then I'll throw in something that, you guys want to talk about, or if you guys comment like, hey, that'd be a great topic for you to talk about, so we can get insight of how, how they work for you. And in one of my comments, he said like, oh, we do need a review for the Scag mower. So let's get to it. So pretty much I'm getting the mowers ready so I can do the review. So pretty much cleaning out the deck, and what I'll pretty much do is that I'll use my ramp as a jack, so that I'm able to get underneath there, swap out the blades, clean the decks, blow them off. I don't know if you guys can see my little baby right there, Zeta. She's just being Zeta. So I'm waving. We'll see if she waves back, but I think she's too crazy. Oh yeah, she waved back. I don't know if you guys saw that, but see if I can zoom in. Wants to be with daddy. So there they are, the dynamic dual. So if you guys skip to this part, a little bit about myself. Pretty much I am a small lawn care provider. This is my second year going full time, but I've been in business for 4 years. The first 2 years it was more like a side hustle, and then last year I was able to leave my full-time job to do this. This year, really just focusing on my clientele, building up those accounts, really figuring out what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And when I first started, I started off with a riding lawnmower, a John Deere X350. I believe when I bought it, it was close to $6,000. And the main reason why I went with that mower is because it just looked very similar to like driving. And I had no experience in lawn care whatsoever when I first started. And then eventually this guy was my first commercial mower, which is the Scag V-Ride 52 inch. I did have a 48, but I sold it like a couple months ago. It's maybe been like a month and a half. So I bought this guy because my X350 was starting to give me a lot of issues, and it wasn't really a commercial mower. So I mean, that's what's gonna happen if you go to like Lowe's or Home Depot and you buy like those 0 turns or those riding lawn mowers. It's gonna break down because it's not used to commercial heavy work. And then eventually you're probably at a point where you're looking on buying a commercial mower. And obviously if you're looking at this video, you're debating on getting a Scag or going with Scag or going with, this model, which is the V-Rides 2. But let's start with the 52. So this is the Vanguard EFI 37, or it has the Vanguard EFI 37 engine. I know the new ones, I don't know if I could have gotten a Kawasaki engine. I'm pretty sure I could have. but I pretty much just went with whatever the dealer gave me, and that's what that's what they gave me. I did opt in for the Tweels, and if you guys don't know what Tweels are, it's pretty much airless tires, so I never get a flat tire. They were expensive. They were like $1,800, but if you guys go through my channel, I kind of go through what they are, how much it costs. I kind of dive into that because I had someone comment, or someone was inquiring about them, so I made a whole video about that. Let's see how many hours it has. So I've had this one for maybe 2.5 years. So 622 hours and 60 cents, or 622 hours with 60.6 minutes and whatever. So when I was using the riding lawnmower, the most that I could do in a day was around like 5 or 6, and I was pretty much out like 8 to 10 hours. And then I switched over to this guy, and I think my record is like 11 yards, and I was home by like 4, so I could have kept going. I could have stayed out till like 7 or 8 if I really wanted to. So this is the 52-inch deck. Sorry, I was saying this is the 52-inch deck. I call this the dynamic duo because someone else pointed out, which I'll put their comment, but they're right. You can use the same deck, the same blades for both of them, so they're interchangeable. And I am debating about getting another mower. So I'm kind of debating between another 52. So if I do get another 52, it'd be cool because I could just keep buying the same blades and then just swap them out. You know, they all use the same deck, so it'd just be easier. But I'm leaning more towards the 61 because we're starting to get bigger properties. And then another comment was saying that they're looking on getting a 36, I believe, because they have a lot of cookie cutter yards or smaller yards, or they want more smaller yards. And that was the main reason why I bought this one last year during winter for those small cookie cutter yards. For example, my backyard would take me like 30 minutes with a push mower, and with this guy, it takes me maybe like 10 minutes, if that. So it literally it will cut your time in half. And truth be told, I kind of want more cookie cutter yards where I'm using the 36 because you're in and out quicker. If they're right next to to other properties, your route density gets really tight. And I don't know, I think just the profit margins on these smaller cookie cutter yards are better than the bigger yards. But obviously if they're bigger yards and you're there a couple more hours, but you know, it all depends on like pricing. And I think especially when you start off, you're not going to have your pricing right. So So when you start off, you probably want to be focusing on cookie cutter yards and trying to stay away from bigger yards. And then as you grow, you might want to focus more on bigger yards because you can charge more and you're not driving that much if your route density isn't that tight yet. But the only issues that I've had with the 52, there's a couple over here where the filter is. You can see right here. So I don't know if it's happening again just from this, but this one has constantly been giving me issues with an oil leak. I've taken it twice to my dealer and it's constantly the same thing. So it's the O-ring. So I guess just one of the seals breaks or it gets loose over time. I don't know how it works, but it's constantly, I wouldn't say constantly, but every once in a while, like it'll have like a small little leak. And then I take it and they fix it, and it seems like maybe like 6 months or 8 months later, it happens again. There was an issue with where one day it wasn't turning on, but it was just an electrical issue where it was like one of these. I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was the green wire. It wasn't connected properly. So when I took it, he just connected it and it worked. And another issue was where I noticed that my mower was kind of like uneven. So I really thought it was my deck wasn't leveled. So I took it and I told him, hey, can you check, if the deck's leveled, because it's leaving like a middle streak from my stripes, and I can notice it. And it turns out that my blades were bent. So he's like, what did you hit? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, one of your blades were bent, and that's why it was leaving that streak and whatnot. So that was user error. Other than that, it hasn't really given me any issues. This is the second deck belt or drive belt that I've put on it in 6 hours, in 600 hours. But everything's just been like maintenance. I change my oil every 50 hours. I think the manual says every 100 hours, but a lot of guys say that you should be changing it every 50 hours. So that's what I do. Changing your filter, sharpening your blade. So for me, I sharpen my blades after we've done 20 yards, and that's typically every other day right now because it is my main mower. So throughout the week, I'll swap them out. Normally Tuesdays and then Thursdays, and then I'll today's Sunday, so then I'll sharpen them and I'll exchange them on Sunday, so that we start off the week fresh. That's it. No complaints. I mean, it cuts great. I wish I could compare it to like other mowers, but pretty much, if you're thinking whatever mower, a lot of these mowers are kind of like cars or like trucks. You can do your research and you'll hear a lot of bad things about Ford, Chevy, GMC. Not so much Toyota, but every once in a while, you'll get bad reviews about the Tundras or whatever, Tacomas. But it's the same thing. Like, a lot of people are gonna hate on it. Some people are gonna love it. It really just depends, on the mower that you get, because these are made in a factory. So sometimes you'll just get a bad mower and it just really leaves a bad taste in your mouth, especially after you're spending a lot of money, which we'll get. But for my personal experience, I've had no issues. The issues that I have had is covered under warranty, and then everything else has just been maintenance wise. And that's why it's important when you start getting those accounts and you get your first commercial mower, whatever mower you're having, keep and save it as a backup, or eventually sell that first mower that you have and buy another backup, because sooner or later, just like anything, like these are going to have it's going to have its issues. It's going to break down. And the last thing you want to do is be texting your clients like, hey, I won't be able to, swing by today or this week because my mower's down. I'm having issues with my mowers. I should get it back by next week. And your dealer is backed up by like 2 or 3 weeks. And then what? Then you got to pull the trigger and try to figure something out. And you're probably on Facebook Marketplace and you end up getting a mower that you didn't want, but you're forced to have it. It's probably, you go on the cheaper side because you don't have all the money and whatever. So, to me, I honestly think, like, a lot of people are going to have it's good, it's bad. For me personally, I love them. But what I was trying to say is, whatever mower you go with, it depends on your local dealer. So what I would recommend is Google, whatever local dealer is near you that has the best reviews, and go with them. And then whatever they offer, Scag, John Deere, Ferris, Toro, Exmark, go with them, because they're going to break down. And say, if I really wanted Scag, but my dealer's like 3 hours away, when they break down, and it's not if they will, it's when they will. I'm going to have to be driving like 2-3 hours just to drop it off, and then 2-3 hours back, and then 2-3 hours, it's just like a lot of back and forth. And when you get busy, which you will, if you keep it up, that's a lot of time wasted. So honestly, it depends what's your closest dealer, and the reviews, do they have good dealer support and whatnot. For me, my dealer is about like 20 minutes away. They've been great. When something breaks down, the little few issues that I listed, I take it in, they fix it. It does take them maybe like 3 weeks, and then when I do get it back, I don't get a bill because it's covered under warranty. Now, if it's user error, then they charge me, right? And then I just learn from those mistakes, which hasn't happened. And that's the beautiful thing of when you buy something new, is that I believe you get like a few years under warranty. I'm pretty sure this one just went out of warranty. I think it's after every 500 hours that it goes out of warranty. So I don't know, someone has to just check with your local dealer, because I'm sure everyone's a little bit different. And for me, it was easy to finance it because I got locked in at a 2% interest rate. And I left no money down. I was going to leave like $3,000 or $4,000 down. And they're like, oh no, you're approved. You don't have to leave anything down. I was like, okay. And I got locked in at a 2% interest because at that time, my credit was like in the low 600s. If it was over 700, I would have been locked in at a 0% interest rate. And with everything, with the wheels and everything, this mower came out to like close to like 15,000. It was like 14,800. And I did the calculations once with that 2% interest rate, I think I'm only paying like $800 more to the bank, that loan that, gave me that loan, once it's all said and done. And it just makes sense. I'm able to, I feel more comfortable using this mower. Like this is a commercial mower, so it just builds that confidence in me where I'm like, okay, I can charge them a little bit more because I have the equipment to back it up. And my payments are 320 a month, which I'll put a screenshot. So that's what with like 4 or 5 yards in a month. If you can cut say 6, if you can cut 6 yards in a month, that itself is going to pay for this mower. And then I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that just try to save up and try to, pay cash for it. They're like, I don't want to be in debt. I might not have good credit. You can ask your friends or your parents, someone, that will trust you, and obviously just make sure you do your payments. But this mower has paid for itself probably like 4 or 5 times already, if that. No issues whatsoever. And I'm the type of person that I want to stick to one brand. Like, I don't want to be all over the place. There's a lot of guys out there that will run Scag, John Deere, or Exmark. They're kind of like all over the place. For me, it's just like a one-stop shop. Like, I just want to buy, if something breaks, or if I want to buy another one, I just want to go to the same spot. I don't want to be driving to like different dealers to, fix different things and whatnot. So for me, it was just like luck of the draw. I just went with Scag because that's what my dealer did, and I've had no issues, and I loved it so much that I bought the 48 that I sold, and then I bought this guy. So this one has the Kawasaki FX 600V, 19 horsepower. And the main reason why I got this one was because I was tired of push mowing. I got this during winter last year. And pretty much last year during summer, I had told myself, like, I am done push mowing. Because the week that we just passed was miserable. And if I had to push mow, I would have probably thrown in the towel, if I'm being honest, because it was already hot. It was, it hit I hit 3 digits. The heat index was over 100 where I'm at. And then you have to push mow a property that's going to take you 30 minutes. Like, but if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But, I highly recommend investing on a 36 or 32 stand-on mower or sit-down mower. And, this one I just found on Marketplace. It had 30 hours. I don't know if I put how many hours it has now, but let's see. 94. So it's about to hit 100. This one I bought it with 30 hours. So within what, like 4 months, I've put in 60 hours. We could say 70 hours. So we don't use it that often. But when I do use it, I'm so glad I have it in my arsenal, because I'm no longer having to push mow any properties. I have yet, I don't know how to say it, but I haven't found a property where the 36 does not fit. Because I was debating between a 32, but the one person that I kind of like talked to for a little bit, he has a 32, and he kept saying that the tires balled really quick. He went through like 3 tires. And same thing, just luck of the draw during winter. One thing about me is that I'm very patient. So during winter, when a lot of these people or lawn care providers are putting up their equipment for sale, I lowball them. And this one, he had it up there for a little bit. And then I shot him an offer. I think he wanted, like 7,000, and I shot him a lowball offer of 5,000. And within a couple months of, no one was biting, he, I reached out again. He's like, fine, if you pick it up, it's yours for 5,000. And I drove about 2 hours to pick it up. So I got this mower for 5,000 with 30 hours. It was pretty much new. Hasn't given me any issues yet. No complaints, nothing's broken down yet, because I did buy it used. It's not under warranty. So when something does break, I'm sure it'll cost a good penny. So I'm saving money for when that time happens. The only thing I've done to it is I just swapped out the blades, and I added the quick shoot. I know someone else said that I need to add a grass flap to this mower. It's on the list. Right now we're just rocking it, but come fall, or right before fall, is when I'm gonna buy one. But they're like, these shoe blockers are around like $500. So I got other things I gotta worry about first, and pretty much we're just more there's a little bit more thinking when we're mowing. We make sure that that we're shooting the grass into, back into their yard and not into the streets or against their house, because it shoots, that one shoots the grass pretty far away. So it's a little bit of, just reminding yourself like, oh, what side should I start off where I'm not doing that and why not. So great, it just cuts great. They're reliable. I'm not really spending too much on gas. Like you guys saw in one of my other videos, I have like a 5-acre property that we service, and these two mowers get the job done in 3 hours with me and Jacob. I do think I'm gonna pull the trigger next year with the V-Ride XL, the 61-inch, and then this one will be my backup mower. But this is it, this is the dynamic duo, and I think it's great because the 52 is great for like medium to larger properties, and then the 36 is for like smaller cookie cutter yards or for back eights where the 52 or a 48 won't fit. And then I'm just waiting for the tires to bald out, and I'll switch over to wheels, which will be an expensive expense. It'll be expensive, but I've had these for like 3 years and they still look pretty much brand new. They're great on hills, no issues whatsoever. So I highly recommend it. Again, if you're thinking of buying one, I'd say go for it if you can finance it. And what I would do is, because at a 2% interest rate, like that's nothing. That's like the bank literally loaning me $15,000, and I'd rather use whatever money I had saved up and buy better equipment. Maybe a better backpack, a better weed eater, a bigger trailer, and then just keep doing your payments and really try to just stretch out your money. And at the end of the day, it's like, what's going to make my life easier out here, especially when it's summer, during this time frame where a lot of guys are throwing the towel because they can't keep up with this heat because they don't have the equipment. And because I have good equipment, it makes our life slightly easier. Still not easy, but because I have good equipment and I've invested back into my business, that's why we're able to do what we're doing. But anyways, like, subscribe. I did forget to say pretty much with the stand-on mowers, they're very comfortable to use all day. So I would say if you have a lot of like medium to smaller yards, stand-ons is the way to go. They're easier on your back, because imagine when you have a sit-down zero-turn mower, like when you're sitting down, like you're sitting on your on your spine pretty much 8 hours out of the day. And if you do that every day, it's gonna add up. So that's the main reason why I went with these the standards or these stand-on mowers, is because from the research that I did, a lot of guys were saying that as they got older, they were having issues with their back. I would say probably like the first 2 weeks, my legs were a little wobbly, they were a little sore. But now, I can't remember the last time my legs were sore. It's just, you just build to it. They do have shocks. Let's see if I can, like, this guy. So, so it's not, when you hit on bumps and whatnot, it doesn't put that much pressure on your legs and whatnot. But I do know that a lot of people say that, if you have like really big properties where you're there like 5-6 hours, the zero turns are a little bit better. Again, no issues. I highly recommend going with these Scag V-Ride 2 mowers.